my monthly spend as a 21-year-old student living in beautiful London is... Money is a subject that many people don't want to talk about, and that's fair. We all have our own subjects that we consider to be off limits, but fortunately, I am an open book when it comes to talking about money. I feel like it's extremely motivational to hear someone that earns a lot of money bringing up their finances and talking about how much they're spending roughly a month, because it makes me feel like I can achieve that as well in the future. I'm definitely not at that level yet, but I will just tell you about how much I spend monthly as a student living in London, which is one of the most expensive cities to live in the world. If you like this type of videos, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell as well, because I am doing a university series at the moment, which I'm gonna talk about everything from budgeting to how to get a job in London to how to get accepted to uni. Basically have a perfect start when you're beginning at university. And I would appreciate a lot if you would just subscribe to this series and subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment down below saying how much you spend per month as a university student, if you are comfortable with that. If not, just tell me what you think about London and if you think that it's expensive as people say. I wish I could have found a video that is the same as this one when I came to London, because all I could find were videos that were made by really big influencers that were earning way more money than I'm currently earning, and that scared me a lot because I was hearing about all these rent prices that was over £1,000 per person, and I was just feeling like it's too much and I will never be able to live a comfortable life in London. It differs from person to person, of course, because you might do more or less than I'm doing. And that's why I think it's super helpful to just hear some numbers so you can use them as reference to make up your own budget. So the biggest and most important spend is rent, of course. And London is not known to be cheap. Quite the opposite, actually. It's one of the most expensive cities to live in, and it also depends on where you want to live, because if you want to live in central London, think about spending at least £1,000 per month per a room, or a nice room if you're lucky. But I live in zone 4, and that for me works perfectly because it's extremely close to my university, which is on zone 3, and it's also connected a lot to everywhere else in London. So if I want to get to central, I can be there in about 30 or 40 minutes, which is perfect because I don't really go to central that much. I'm also extremely lucky because all the bills are included in my rent, and there is also something that you need to consider if you decide to rent something privately are bills. But I do not pay any kind of bills. All of them are paid by my landlord, and all I pay is the rent, which for my one-bedroom flat in zone 4, it's £1,100 per month. Now, I do share with my boyfriend, so that means I'm only paying £550 a month, and that means I am paying the price of a normal single room or double bedroom maybe in a shared house, but I'm not sharing with anyone apart from my boyfriend. If you know someone that you can buddy up with, I definitely recommend that you are sharing within at least 2 or more people, because it turns out to be extremely cheap compared to other types of accommodation. But maybe student halls are an alternative that you might consider as well. And if you are thinking about that, I had a video where I talked about the pros and cons of both student accommodation and private rentals, so I would leave a card right here somewhere if you want to check that out as well. No matter what you choose to go for, you also have to take into account deposit when you first move in. You will get that back eventually on the end of the contract, but you have to consider paying upfront from 2 weeks to a few months if you don't have any kind of reference or any guarantors and you're just coming to the UK as an international student. The next big number that adds up is transport. And transport in London can add up extremely fast without you even noticing it. A bus fare is £1.50 one way, no matter where in London you are, but if you decide to take the tube, you can end up spending anywhere from £1.50 to a little bit over £3 for just one-way tickets. So you have to take that into consideration. If your uni is in central London, you will most probably have to take the tube, so that will mean more monthly spend on the transport. When I am going to university, I usually have around 3 days where I need to physically go there, and I'm always taking the bus because it's super close. So that means that I'm spending £3 each day, which is £9 per week, £36 per month. I also have to take into account a job that I currently do not have, but eventually when I will go back to a job and I'll find something, I will go there probably around the same amount of time, so around 3 days per week as well, which means another £36 at the end of the month. To these £72 I will add up £18, so we can round it up and take into account that I might go places. I might go to Central, I might go shopping, I might go somewhere on my day off, so I have to take that into account. And of course, tubes are more expensive. I might go to the other side of London, which makes perfect sense to take the tube, because if I choose to take buses, I have to change lots of buses and they will add up. Oh, another thing that I have to say here is that you can take basically unlimited buses in a 1 hour time slot. So if you choose to get a bus and you have to change around 3 buses, but your commute time is less than 1 hour, you will only pay £1.50 for the first fare, and then the rest will just be in the same price because it's within the hour. That makes a total of £90 per month just for public transport and by using mostly the bus. And again, that can go up and down depending on what zone you are traveling from and what zone you are traveling to. You can also get a monthly Oyster card that has a student discount if you are actually traveling by tube lots of times, and usually if you're traveling every day, that's when it's worth it to buy an Oyster card rather than buying a pay-as-you-go one like I'm using, but for me it turns out to be cheaper. Next is food. This can vary a lot depending on what exactly you're eating and if you have any particular diet that you are on. I'm mostly vegetarian, but I'm trying to buy as much plant-based alternatives as well, which can get pricey. I'm also cooking a lot at home, and that's saving me a couple of pounds every time. I'm usually the one who buys the groceries, and at the end of the month I just split the amount with my boyfriend. It's always a different amount because sometimes we eat a lot. We have months where we buy lots of snacks and months where we are definitely healthier, and when we are healthier we are actually paying less on groceries, but it's usually around £300 for both of us a month, so that makes it my part just £150 a month. Of course, you might want to go out, and going out in London is expensive. For example, a cocktail can range anywhere from £8 to around 25 depending on how posh the location is, which is why a lot of people are taking advantage of deals such as happy hour or buy one get one half price. I'm not going out more than 2 times per month max, and when I go out it's usually around 20 to 25 pounds a meal if I'm drinking and I'm also eating something, so that is another £50 at the end of the month. So these are the main things that you have to spend money on in order to survive and to have a social life as well. But now I'm gonna delve into the little bits that if you take them separately they are super cheap stuff, but when you add them all up, it's a lot of money, which are subscriptions and contracts and so on. So I have Netflix, which is £12 per month. My boyfriend is actually paying for Spotify, so I don't have to bother with my music subscription, which is nice. Then we have our coffee subscription, which is a new addition, and I know it sounds a bit strange when you talk about coffee subscription, but we recently bought a coffee machine from Lavazza, and I'm gonna leave the link below. It's not sponsored or anything, I just found this offer. But basically, if you are buying coffee pods for a year and a half, then you can get the coffee machine for free. And the coffee machine that we chose, it's actually £200. I would have never bought a machine that is £200 because it's just not a priority. But if it was free and all I need to buy is coffee, I always drink something in the morning, either it's tea or coffee, or I'm buying coffee from Starbucks or Costa, which of course is more expensive, so we decided to get this coffee subscription which is actually 45 pounds per 2 months. So every month it's around 22.5 for both of us. That makes it 11.25 per month, just my part. Then I have Simba's insurance, and for those of you who don't know, Simba is our cat, and I decided to get the cheapest insurance for him just in case we ever need to go to the vet and we don't have money at the time, and that's 6 pounds a month. I also have my gym contract, which is 18 pounds per month. I go to Pure Gym, and to be honest, I haven't really went since the lockdown has been lifted, so I definitely need to get my ass there. I have my phone contract, which is around 18 to 19 pounds per month. I have a SIM-only contract with free. I paid off my phone so that I won't have to pay more monthly. I'm happy with them. It's not the best internet speed, but it doesn't bother me that much, so for me it works because it's one of the cheapest one on the market. I also have Adobe Creative Cloud, which is basically the software that I use to edit my videos and also to work on for university projects like InDesign, Premiere Pro, and stuff like that. And I have the student subscription, which is just 14 pounds a month. And these are all my recurring monthly subscriptions and contracts that I have to pay every single month. But of course, I also have to buy clothes or makeup or just something around the house or something that I run out of. So there's always some extra money that I have to take into account, and that's different from month to month, but I will put an approximate 50 pounds per month because there are months where I don't really spend anything apart from what I've talked about, and there are months like Christmas. There are months like December where I have to spend a bit more because of Christmas. And after adding all of them up, my monthly spend as a 21-year-old student living in beautiful London is 970.25. So we could almost say 1,000 pounds per month. That's a lot of money, and if you just look at everything, I would personally say that I don't spend a lot, that I'm on a budget, and that I'm trying to live within my means, and also just allow myself an indulgence from time to time. Like I said, there are months where I spend way less than that, like it was in lockdown because I didn't have transport and I didn't really pay for anything else apart from food and rent. But there are also months where I have birthdays or where holidays are happening where I'm spending a bit more. It may sound like a lot, but if you also have a part-time job, it's such an awesome feeling to be able to provide for yourself. And even myself, when I used to hear that people spend 1,000 pounds per month, I used to get scared. Like, I would say it's impossible for me to achieve it, and I reached it, and I'm here, and I'm having this money that I can spend monthly, and it's such an awesome feeling to be able to provide for yourself and be able to achieve something that a few years or a few months before you thought it's impossible. As you can see, I didn't mention anything about saving because some months I can save some money, some months I don't. But usually I can't really save a lot because I'm a student, so I cannot have a full-time job. That leaves me little room for saving. That is what I personally spend as a 21-year-old living in London. I am sure that you can live with less money than that, or you can live with much more money than that. I think that there should definitely be a balance between how much money you're earning and how much money you're spending. But I believe you shouldn't feel bad if from time to time you decide to go out or order something in where you don't feel like cooking, if that makes you feel happy. Balance is key. I hope this video provided you with some information that you can use as reference to make up your own budget. If you have any other questions or ideas that you would like me to talk about, leave them in the comments down below and I'll make sure to answer as soon as I can. Keep watching my university series for videos that are similar to this one and subscribe to my channel if you liked it. Thank you!